What's up, guys? It's Josh from Soul Studios, and today we're going to do something special, getting away from reviewing some of the newer units and going back to the Focusrite Red 3, which was made in the 90s, which thankfully, if you live long enough, the era that you came up in will be cool again, because I've got some younger people in the family that are telling me, it's time to part your hair down the middle, wear flannel, wear boots again, hopefully listen to more rock music. So anyway, the 90s seemed to be all the rage again, and I thought, well, it'd be pretty cool to take a piece that was made in that era and also a piece that still stands the test of time that's really popular today. Now, one thing I want to point out before we get into the audio examples is that the earlier Focusrite Red 3 units that were made had transformers on the input and the output. The later units after that removed those input transformers and only had transformers on the output. So I will roll some video right now to show you exactly what to look for if you want to get one of the original units, which are the more desirable ones that had both sets of transformers. So as we're looking at this picture here, the little metal box is where your input transformer is under. If you open up your unit and you see two of the yellow kind of donut shaped transformers, those are output only. So if you don't see the metal box, you've got one of the later units. Now there's people such as Howie Weinberg that says really the secret to this unit is pushing the output. So even if you have one of the newer ones, if you use it that way, you should still get some of the magic. So it just depends on who you talk to. I was lucky enough to score one of the early units. I just wanted to make sure I had it in all its glory, making a decision, deciding whether it was something that was a good fit for my studio. One quick thing about the calibration, just like in the RS-124 video that I did, I take a blend of signal generator at 80 Hertz, 1K and 8K, just to see how a compressor reacts across a fuller frequency spectrum as opposed to just doing a standard 1K. And so with all of these, they were dialed in to have the same amount of gain reduction, which was about 1.3 dB. Now, the reason that it was kind of an in-between number like that is the hardware threshold is stepped. So I only had so many options there, and then I had to base the plug-in calibration around what the hardware could do. So the calibration, they were all compressing about 1.3 dB. And then in the Slate plug-in, on the CLA setting, I noticed they had 3.1 dB of makeup gain. And a big part of this unit is driving the output, so I wanted to keep that maintained because I figured they did it for a reason. So after doing that makeup gain, it put them all at about plus 1.8. So they're all dialed in exactly the same. Now when you listen, even when things are completely calibrated, depending on how they handle transients and so forth, they may actually sound a little bit different in volume or energy or harmonics. But I can assure you these are painstakingly dialed in as much as humanly possible. So I feel like you can make pretty confident decisions based off of what you're hearing here. Another thing to keep in mind if you're looking for an original unit and you don't have a picture of the inside, when you see the ratios numbered, so you have 1.5, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 10 to 1, the later units just had a sweepable thing, and I believe they just showed the 1.5 and the 10, and then everything in between was just, it wasn't a stepped selector like it is on the older ones. So that's another sign you can look out for if you are interested in having one of the originals with the input and output transformers. But what I want to do today is let you hear this original unit alongside three plugins. So we've got the Slate digital virtual bus compressor, the FG Red. We have the CLA MixDown made by Waves, and for that one I'm just going to take out the EQ and the console drop. And then the last one would be the Red 3 plugin from Focusrite that comes bundled with some of their interfaces. So what I want to do, I've got a song called Flame in the Night by Heather Evans. Heather and my friend Mike Myers are great songwriters, and we've worked on many projects together. So this is the latest one we've done. It actually comes out here in a couple of weeks on April 30th, 2021. So I will put links in the description so you can go ahead and pre-save that if you like what you hear. And I hope you do. So I'm going to start in the second verse, and I thought this song was a good choice because it starts kind of quiet and then it has a huge chorus that it explodes into. So what I'm going to do is do the hardware, and then I'll do the FG Red, followed by CLA MixDown, and then last will be the Focusrite plugin. I'm going to do second verse and second chorus. You can listen to all of those separately, go back and forth, take whatever time you need. And then in the end, I'm going to play the bridge because it's got a part that kind of repeats. And what I'll do during that section is use the D control here to quickly just mute and unmute each section so you can kind of hear them, side by side and not separate takes or whatever. So let's jump into it. First, we have the Focusrite Red 3 hardware.
I found my way, but as I look around, this world is silent and crying out. I like the way to guide them on. Together we'll burn bright and strong. We're all waking up, 'cause we are begin. We're a flame in the night. We're a fire burning bright. Try as it might, just won't steal our light. We'll carry this up to the front of the line. We're a flame in the night. We're a flame in the night. We're a flame in the night. I found my way, but as I look around, this world is silent and crying out. I like the way to guide them on. Together we'll burn bright and strong. We're all waking up, 'cause we are begin. We're a flame in the night. We're a fire burning bright. Try as it might, just won't steal our light. We'll carry this up to the front of the line. We're a flame in the night. We're a flame in the night. We're a flame in the night. I found my way, but as I look around, this world is silent and crying out. I like the way to guide them on. Together we'll burn bright and strong. We're all waking up, 'cause we are begin. We're a flame in the night. We're a fire burning bright. Try as it might, just won't steal our light. We'll carry this up to the front of the line. We're a flame in the night. We're a flame in the night. We're a flame in the night. I found my way, but as I look around, this world is silent and crying out. I like the way to guide them on. Together we'll burn bright and strong. We're all waking up, 'cause we are begin. We're a flame in the night. We're a fire burning bright. Try as it might, just won't steal our light. We'll carry this up to the front of the line. We're a flame in the night. We're a flame
Okay, now we'll go through the bridge section. I have the VUMT Klinghelm plugin pulled up, and in the description at the bottom listed what is what, so I can kind of highlight as we're going through here so you can tell which one we're on. And I'll just cycle through them quickly, try to give some quick back and forth just to, give a little more feel of how they all stack up. Not listening separately, but, listening really closely together. All right, here we go. All right, such a cool song. I really enjoyed working on that one. Heather and Mike, like I said, great friends of mine, very talented people. So if you will go support them by picking up the song, go ahead and pre-save on Spotify or Apple Music. Or if you really love it, it'd be nice for you to buy a download. So one thing I'll say, if you haven't used a Red 3 hardware or a plugin, one of the things that I like about it is that it just sounds like rock and roll to me. And I think that makes sense as to why, CLA and his brother TLA and F-Reach Shipping and some of these guys have used this on the master bus. The compression is actually pretty transparent, which is why I think CLA uses a faster attack than you would use typically on a bus compressor. You can get away with doing that, but something about the transformers, and especially when using the makeup gain to really drive it, it just, like I said, it sounds like rock and roll. There's this mid-forward thing that is a nice difference between like an SSL bus style compressor, where that one may be known more for glue, and I feel like it does this cool thing in the low mids. The Red to me is a little bit more forward. It has a sparkle on the top. I think what I'll do coming up soon is actually do the Red 3 against a hardware SSL style bus compressor, maybe more than one, and throw some plugins in there for good measure too. But anyway, just wanted to point that out. That's what I like about this compressor. So if you haven't used it before, that's the only thing I would say that maybe try to sway you is it's a special compressor. I really love what it does on the master bus. And I hope you found this useful. While you're here, if you'll go ahead and subscribe and ring the bell before you leave. I've got a lot more reviews coming up. I've got a Stam Audio SA4000 Mark II with the Neve mod coming soon, so that'll be a review to look out for. All right, thank you guys. I'll see you again soon.